What up, everybody? I know it's been a minute. I know channel didn't really take off. I don't make a living at this, obviously. I make a living working construction, but I just had this thought of 3 videos I'm going to do, starting with this one, all related to my favorite franchise, Rocky. And yeah, if you're a Rocky fan, maybe you'll like this. If you're not, probably not for you, but that's all right. So the Rocky timeline is the one crux of that movie. None of the ages and years line up, or records. They screw up guys' records if you're paying attention, right? In the first one, we know Rocky's, they say his record when he's fighting Apollo, he's 44-20. And then, Apollo, Clubber, Drago, 10 title defenses, 13 wins. They got that right, but he only lost to Creed and Clubber, but they have 23 losses. They say out of his 44 wins, he's got 38 by knockout, which means 6 decisions. But in Rocky Balboa, they say he's got 54 knockouts out of 57 wins. He went back in time and knocked out 3 guys. And the Creed movies, they didn't fix that. I don't know what. Stallone's a great writer, but math is not his strong suit. So today, I don't know. Maybe nobody cares as much as I do, but it bugs me. I got to make sense of stuff. I have notepads. Maybe I'm a little OCD or high-functioning autistic. I don't know. Because I like to know the age of each character. Like when I'm watching Vikings, I'm like, okay, so, Bjorn will be 25 in this one. He's 32 in this one, right? I don't know. It's just weird. So, if you're like me, and it's driving you nuts, I have made sense of it all, right? So, we got Rocky. Comes out 1976, and we know it is on the birthday of America. The final fight is January 1st, 1976. So that is correct. So that stays 1976. Rocky is 30 years old in the first one. Now, in Rocky 2, came out 3 years later in 1979, but it takes place the same year. He fights him November, Thanksgiving actually, in 1976. So that's still 1976. So he's 31 years of age. The announcer says it as he's getting in. So far, so good. But here, they started screwing up already by Rocky 3. It's 1982. They say on the news, can Rocky re-win the belt at 34 years old? So that would mean the third one takes place in 1979. But I don't believe that, because that's 10 title defenses plus his exhibition match with Thunder Lips in 3 years. Whew, that is a busy schedule. That means he'd have to fight pretty much every 3 months. So we see the damage. We know that's not real, right? I mean, sure, nobody screwed him up as much as Apollo, but you're still going to take a couple weeks off, and there's pre-camp, okay? I used to fight, and that's why I did this video. I'm a sweaty mess right now. Just got back from the gym, and I thought, you know what? I'm going to do it. I got nothing written. I got nothing scripted. This is just me. Wearing my Mighty Mix boxing. Anyway, so, but we see on Mighty Mix casket, it says 1982. Now, this is more accurate. That would mean over a span of about, a couple years, he has defended the title, 11 if you count Clubber, although he lost. The exhibition, that's 13 battles he has in that movie. Yeah, so 6 years is a much more accurate description of that, I think. So I'm going to go with the release date. I'm going to say that takes place by the end of the movie. It's 1982, not 79 if he was 34. So that would actually put Rocky right around, depending on if it's earlier in the year or not, 4, 4, 6, Rocky's already 37. By this point. These markers get dry so fast it kills me. And that one's dry. Bear with me. 37. So I hope you can see that. Now, this is a huge problem. They jumped Rocky IV in 1985. This is a huge problem in a lot of ways, and it even affects the Creed franchise as far as continuation goes. And I'll explain why. Okay. If that was in 82, you hear that? My cats are getting into something. Anyway, then that means Rocky sat on his hands for 3 years doing nothing. You think the sparring match with Apollo, where he got a little shiner was all he did in those 3 years? No, they would have stripped the belt from him. So I'm going to say, realistically, rationally, the events of Rocky 4 follow the previous year. God, these markers are terrible. This is going to piss me off. 1983. Rocky's 38 by the end of it because it's in December, right? So we're talking, what, 7 years, pretty much, 7 years and a month after the rematch with Apollo. Now, and this is going to be important later, right? And I'll show you why. Oh my God, it's already dry. Okay, well, I got it up here anyway. So, Rocky V, well, there's no specific dates or ages. He loses everything, but he grows up in the hood for a while. He builds Tommy up, which takes years. So, judging by the age of his kid, right, they screw up because when he goes to Russia, his kid's like 5. When he gets off the plane, he's 12, right? He was in Russia a long time. Whatever, they could have done something like he's broke and then, dark screen, a few years later, living in the slums again. So, I'm going to say if his kid's 12 and he was born in 1976, well, that means by the end of Rocky V, we're at 1988, which would make Rocky about 43, right? Give or take, Maybe his birthday, I don't know his birthday. Maybe it's in June, right? So if it's early 88, he's 42, you know what I'm talking about. So, Rocky Balboa. Now, this is an interesting one because I'm not sure. I've read different things. I've read 2 articles. One said Mason Dixon was 29 and Rocky was 59. Another one said 57 and 27. They both agree there's a 30-year age gap, which is cool because that means, what's his face? If he's 27, Mason, basically they cut that out of the movie, was born 1976. He was born the year Rocky won the title because that's how freaking old Rocky is by this point. I like that timeline. I'm going to go with 57. This one doesn't really matter. I'm just going to say 57, which would put the events at 2003, 3 years earlier than the release date. I don't know why I like 57 more than I like 59. I don't know. 59 is just too close to 60 for me to suspend my disbelief, all right? So I'm taking that one. But like I said, it can go either way. Now, this is where we get really screwy. We know, because if you watch the screen in Creed 2, when he's fighting Wheeler for the heavyweight strap, he's 28 years old. And this is 3 years after the Conlon fight, right? So, if he was born in 85, which they have the release date, that means he would have been 30 by the time he met Rocky, which would make him 33 in Creed 2. Well, nobody starts a career at 30 in boxing, except Ron Lyle. Anyway, look him up. What a savage. In fact, he was the inspiration, one of the inspirations for Clubber Lang. So, if he's born, we agree this is 83. This is where it gets screwy. So if he was, we know he had to at least be, Apollo pumped him into his mom before he died, right? So he's probably conceived, probably born 83, early 84. And if he is 25 in Creed 3, then that means that the events of that one takes place in 2007. Did I get that right? 2003, 2008. We'll go 2008. Okay? So that would make Rocky 62, Adonis 25. All right. So now 3 years later would not be 2018 in the movies universe. It would be 2011. So 65, 28. But by the end of the movie, right, it takes place over a long time, right? Adonis sits on his hands for a long time, physically damaged, emotionally damaged. He's a wreck. So they're threatening to take the belt away if he doesn't get back in there with Victor. So that probably ends by 2012. 66 and 29 would be the ages there. So now Creed 3, I really like this movie. I liked it better than Creed 2, way better than Creed 2. But again, you have the problem with 82 and 85. Did he sit on his hands for 3 years? Because Conlon went to prison for 7 years in 2008. So he's not getting out for a full 3 more years after the end of part 2. I really wish they would have thrown in more title defenses between Victor and Conlon, because both rematches, because 27-1, that means he only defended the belt 3 times. 1, he got lucky. 2 was an absolute bloodbath war, and the 3rd one was against a faded Conlon who'd been locked up. No, he would not be ghost out. If you remember, they leave this out. They don't ever talk about it, but in the first Creed, he's fighting at light heavyweight, 175. So I just assume in those 7 fights between Conlon and Wheeler, he won the light heavyweight strap, the vacant belt, the cruiserweight belt, and that's why he's moving up to heavyweight. I gotta tell myself that, right? So instead of just, because Michael B. Jordan, he's a specimen. He's an absolute specimen. But no, he is not. He did not go from 175 in the first one to 215. He did not put on. He put on 5 pounds maybe, but not 40. So anyway, I gotta believe. I gotta tell myself again. Of course, they exaggerate the heights and weights of all the actors, but so I'm gonna say, good behavior got Conlon out a year early, or 13, 2 years early. Okay, that's believable. 7-year sentence, he served 5. Out with good behavior. And because he's rich. And because in the justice system, it really doesn't matter if you're black or white. What matters is how much green you got, right? So, anyway. So I'm going to say the opening of Creed 3 is 2013. And then he's retired for 3 years, which makes it 2000. These markers, man. These are the worst markers I've ever used in my life. 2016. Okay? We know Damian Anderson had to be 18 to get 18 years, which was ridiculous. But, so he's 36. So I'm going to put, by the end of that, for 69 for Rocky. And, God, Adonis, that's so early to retire. He's only 32, which, again, is believable because he was 18, right? Dame was like the older brother to him. So he could have been 14 or 15 in the events, in the flashbacks when the shit went down. I just don't want to go into details in this video about that because it's, spoilers for anybody, but there will be a warning on the others. So, anyway, that's my timeline. I have Rocky 1 and 2 taking place in 76. That's compatible with the movie. Rocky 3, again, yes, I do think it ends by 82. Again, but the only thing they screwed up was the age. Rocky didn't go from 31 in 1976 to just 34 6 years later. No, he would have been 37 by the end of it. I don't believe Rocky sat on his hands for 3 years until Drago. I don't believe it. I think it was the next year. So 38 in 1983. And that puts that at the year Adonis was conceived, at least. He would have been born not long after. And which would have made him 25 in 2008 for Creed, which would have made him 20, which would have made the events of Creed 2 finish by 2012, the end of 12, and which would put the events of Creed 3 in 2016, maybe early 2017, because he's coming out of retirement, would have been a longer training camp, so maybe he was 33. Still very young to retire. I know Victor jacked him up, but yeah, that didn't sit well with me. Really, 27-1, you wouldn't beat your dad's legacy, We know Apollo was 46 and when he met Rocky. It's no secret he's completely based off Muhammad Ali, who won the belt in his 20th fight. So that means in the Rocky universe, Apollo probably defended the belt 26 times before meeting Rocky. So no, even if you did win the light heavyweight strap and the cruiserweight strap on your way to winning the heavyweight strap, 3 title defenses. One was pure luck, one was a back and forth war, and the other was a fading former light heavyweight champ like yourself. There's no way he would have been in the GOAT discussion. So Adonis, I love you, buddy, but you retire too soon. You're not a GOAT, although you are a 2-time heavyweight champ now. That's cool. But anyway, that's my timeline. So at the end of Creed 3, we are still back in 2016, folks. Douchebags are walking around with clown masks all over the internet scaring people. Which, compared to today's riots, I'll take guys calmly walking around in clown masks any day. But anyway, that's my timeline. Guys, I know I don't post a lot. Like I said, I don't plan on making a living and becoming a big, having my face on Bud Light or anything, right? So, but if you like I don't post all the time, but if you guys like this video, and I got 2 more Rocky videos coming out that I will make soon, then go ahead and hit subscribe and the notification bell, and I will get back to you ASAP. Do you have anything to add with the timeline? Did I miss something? Let me know in the comments below. And, well, I'll see you later.